Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to replace the steaming valve or the faucet valve from the Gaggia Classic Pro. The reason we have to do that is because the valve started leaking a few months after we bought the Gaggia Classic Pro last year, and as you can hear the sound, it's squeaking because the valve from the inside it's actually leaking from the edge over here where the joint is. So the company that I bought, the Gaggia Classic Pro, they are actually authorized reseller of the Gaggia Classic Pro. So they send me a warranty replacement free of charge, and along with a steaming knob replacement, because the knob was also rusted pretty bad. Okay, so those are the two parts that they sent me, along with a little O-ring. And in this video today, we're gonna actually show you guys how to replace this component so we have a working steaming valve again. Okay, so the valve they sent is actually not the original valve that they used, but I think because of some sort of shortage, they haven't had the original valve for a long time. So this is a alternative. I don't know if it's aftermarket or if it's a replacement from Gaggia, but all I know is this is not original valve. Okay, so we're gonna open up the machine, and then I'm just gonna show you guys step by step how to remove and replace the faucet. So the first thing first is we're gonna just remove the knob over here. All you have to do is, because it's rusted in there, is just kind of pull it out with force, and eventually it would gets pulled out. Okay, so like so, and show you guys over here. It's pretty rusted in here. Okay, so the replacement valve looks exactly the same except there's no rust. And let's see, so also looking over here in the machine, you see where the water is coming out, it actually rusted the entire assembly. So we're gonna start disassembling. So first thing first, remove the top cover. We're gonna remove all the accessory components. So the drip tray, and if you have the original, the ejection port over here, which is stainless steel, you have to remove this. However, I did a really nice modification to my Gaggia Classic Pro, and I have a video. If you guys check the top left corner, I'll have that video over there on how to modify that to get a really nice replacement silicone ejection port, so you don't have to remove that when you have to remove your water port from the back of the Gaggia, which makes things so much easier. Okay, so this project works for Gaggia Classic Pro. It also works great for the original Gaggia Classic. Okay, so which get rid of this stainless steel tube. All right, so next step, we're gonna actually remove the two screws on the top. Super easy to do. Just use a Phillips screwdriver, and you should easily be able to remove the top covering. And once you have the top covering off, I can't get the screw out, but you can probably just lift it somehow. Yep, like so. I'm gonna put all the stuff on the side. Really easy. All you have to do is just lift the top from the back a little bit, and then remove it, kind of go backwards, then lift it. And as you can see, there are a couple of things connected. The two, I think that was the grounding wire connected to the top. You have to remove this on the top. If you have the Gaggia Classic original version, I don't think it's grounded to the top, so you don't have to do this step. But for the Classic Pro, they added this safety thing over here, I assume. Yeah, it's a grounding wire. Okay, so we're gonna remove the top, and the top is exposed. I'm gonna change my camera angle just a little bit and show you guys how to do the next steps. So ideally, you want to remove the two wires on the temperature sensor over here to easily access the two hex bolts over here, and then maybe those two wires, just so you can access the entire thing without any trouble. You don't really need to remove everything. All I did was just lifting these two wires just a little bit, which gave me access to the two hex keys over here. And as you can see, I'm using one of those those hex wrench that actually gives me more torque, because I can torque it from the top using a lot more force. if you're using this kind of hex key, it might take you a little, you might need to find some sort of wrench to grab this and then give it more torque before you open the two bolts over here, okay? But definitely recommend this kind of hex key for easy service and more torque. So before I'm opening up the two keys, I'm actually gonna first remove the steaming one over here. So to do that, you'll need a size 17 wrench. So it's a pretty big bolt over here actually. So all you have to do is, I think we're screwing, let's see which way we're screwing. Either left or right. Okay, oh, okay, all right. So you turn it this way to loosen it, okay? So make sure you take a note of that, the direction of loosening the bolt, because later on we have to tighten it the opposite way on the new valve. So with this removed, we can just safely and slowly pull this out, inspect all the components. It looks to be in fairly decent condition. We'll just leave it there. Now we can actually remove the actual faucet assembly, which was just held by two of the hex keys over here on the top, okay? See if I have a good view for you guys. So right here, and again, all I did was, it was like that, but all I did was lifting this two wires so we don't have to remove it from the temperature sensor. And then we're just gonna loosen those two bolts. Interestingly, the bolts are not very tightly torqued to the boiler, so you probably don't need a lot of force to remove it. If you do need a lot of force, it might got rusted for some reason, so just keep that in mind, okay? But in this case, it's very easy to remove. And we're already almost 80-90% done. So next thing, I'm gonna inspect this valve. So it doesn't have any thread on the bottom, so I guess all we have to do is actually just lift this whole thing up, and it should be, we should be able to just lift it up, okay? Unless it's got a O-ring of some sort. Let's see, it could be the O-ring for here. So the O-ring they provided, it looks like perfect fit for here, so I'm suspecting this is where the new O-ring was for. So let's just slowly lifting it up. Oh, look at that. So it's being removed. A little bit, let's just examine it really quick. Does look like there is a little scale in there, so we might have to do a little descaling for the machine. Other than that, the main issue we had was not leaking from here, but actually leaking from the valve knob over here. And as you can see, it's, you know, really badly rusted over here. So yeah, that's a main issue. Comparing this component with this one, it looks like the O-ring is different. This one is actually a slanted, it's an angled O-ring or gasket over here. And the new one they provided me was just a regular sized O-ring. So that's something different. In theory, I could probably reuse this rubber piece because this one actually had a better fit for the boiler over here. If you look over here, the boiler is actually slanted at an angle. So I would say I'm definitely gonna reuse this O-ring instead of the O-ring they've provided because of the shape of the angle of the boiler. I think the original O-ring is gonna provide a better fit compared to the new O-ring that they provided, for sure. Even though the size is kind of same. So yep, reusing the old gasket. Make sure the angle is correct. And then we're just gonna put it back in there. Don't forget this little cover piece. So I think that was for easy turning or like for the correct gap distance for the new knob, okay? But let me also wash this one, as you can see, it's very rusty. All right. So I put the little plastic piece over here as well. And the next step, just gonna gently put this whole thing back on there. And I'm gonna tighten the hex screws first by putting the screw back in there. And just try your best to align it the best you can with the original location. So get them in position first, and then alternatively tighten both bolts so they are very evenly tightened all together. Okay. And before I do the final tightening, I'm actually gonna just put the knob on here to kind of measure and check to see if the distance is okay, or if the knob is correctly aligned. That's also very important. And at this point, I still need to loosen it a little bit to adjust the angle. So as you can see, in order to properly adjust that knob to fit in there nicely, we need to get that thing to the right position. Okay. So at this point, these two bolts are loose, and I'm trying my best to push the knob all the way in here and make sure it's centered. There's some free play on the four sides of the knob, and then we're gonna tighten it based on the actual position of the knob. Okay, that looks about nice. And now I'm gonna alternatively tighten it. Do not over tighten again. This is aluminum on aluminum, or it could be steel on aluminum, or brass on aluminum. So they're all very soft materials. So I don't think you need to over tighten those bolts a lot. And at this point, I can actually put the steam valve on there, as well. All right, so I'm just gonna hand tighten it. And interestingly, I forgot to put the pin on there, so take it out. So the pin is to prevent it from sliding out, I guess. All right. So with the pin, it doesn't drop out. I guess it's optional. And now we put it back in there again. Align it nicely. And just hand tighten it, and then I'm going to use my wrench and tighten it just a little bit more. Do not over tighten, okay? Do not over tighten. Again, I'm trying to position the knob at the center of the hole, of the exiting hole over there, and then just turn it this way, okay? It seems to be tightened quite well now. Okay, testing the valve. This one is very smooth, no weird sound. So, and at the very end, we're just gonna connect this two piece over here. All right, so lastly, we're gonna put the cover back on, and we're gonna actually do a quick test on the leakiness of the new valve, actually without actually putting the cover on, so I can service it in a little bit. Okay. So I have to connect this two piece as grounding. I'm not gonna tighten or cover the screw, but I'm gonna move it over to the location where we have it. Okay, so I kind of just, laid the grounding top cover over there, and I connected my power. We're gonna just turn it on and run it through a few cycles to make sure the steaming unit is not leaking really bad, okay? And then we're gonna actually close up the cover and call this a day. So we're gonna let it heat up, and once it's at the heat up temperature, we're just gonna use, let's see. Gonna just put an empty product filter on the bottom and let it run. Okay. So as you can see on the side over there, that's where all the water leaked up over there. So definitely got rusty, but it's good that we actually figured out the problem before it went really bad and splashed the water all over. Okay. So still heating up, but can already hear the sound of water boiling. So I guess that's a good sign. And so far, no leaks. And the light up, so the temperature is kind of over at the the desired temperature now, but we're just gonna run it really quick. Interesting sound. So don't know what's going on. Might work, might not. Let me run it again. I'm gonna open the valve and let the water actually fill the valve, so it's not vacuumed. Okay, so let's give it a try. Get some water out here. All right, so I kind of just refilled this line because before it was just air, so the water was not running through. It's making some weird noise. And I opened up the steaming knob, and I opened this at the same time so the water can come out from both sides. Now there's no weird sound because the water has filled the entire line over here. I'm checking for leaks. So far there's no leaks. So now we're gonna actually test the steaming capability. So we already bleed the top of the line. Everything looks fine. Now we're gonna open up the steamer and test the steamer. So the steamer was, it's basically controlled by the temperature sensor over there on the top. Once it reaches a certain degrees of the temperature, the steaming light just lights up, and then whatever comes out here should be steam because of the temperature above the boiling point of the water. Okay, so we're just gonna wait, and it's gonna take about, I would say, 30 seconds, 45 seconds for this light to light up, and we should be good to go. We should have some nice steam coming out. And I'm also gonna make sure nothing is leaking. Okay, so far the knob is not leaking, so that's good. Okay. Oh, the light is on, so let's give it a try. Yep, works good. Check leaks. No leaks, especially this area. So the original silicone, I guess the original silicone ring or the gasket kind of works. There's no leak. Definitely I'll come back and check once in a while, make sure there's still no leak. And so far that crushed gasket also works perfectly fine. No leaks so far. Check the steam again. Oh yeah, works great. So, and the replacement knob is so much more smoother. There's no weird noise. So I would say actually we successfully completed this project replacing the steam valve unit on the Gaggia Classic Pro. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please do hit the like button or subscribe, and we should have more similar content like the Gaggia Classic maintenance videos coming out for you guys, okay? So at the very end, I'm just gonna turn off the power and close the cover and screw in the screws and call it a day, okay? Thanks again, and see you in the next video. Take care.